All right, last section in chapter 9, 9.6, the quadratic formula and its discriminant. Okay, essential question, why is the quadratic formula useful in solving a quadratic equation? Okay, there's our quadratic equation. We've been factoring it, difference of two squares, factoring trinomials, fabulous factoring. We talked about completing the square. Anytime you have a quadratic with an x squared, the nice thing about the quadratic formula, if you want to solve for x, is it works in all trinomials, and anything that's an x squared. Whether all you had was 2x squared, or 2x squared plus 5x, or 2x squared plus 5x plus 7, whatever, if you had the whole trinomial. If it's an x squared, it's a quadratic, you can solve it with the quadratic formula. It's not always the shortest method, but it's a surefire method to work every time to find x. Okay? It doesn't factor. We factor to find x. It's a shortcut. Factoring is usually a shortcut. Okay? Because you'll see this is a little longer, but it's just plug in the numbers and chug it out. Okay? As far as that goes. So how does it work? Well, let's say you have x squared minus 8 equals 2x. Well, the first thing that you have to do that we've been doing all along here is get it set equal to 0, so subtract your 2x over, you get x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Remember, you can't combine anything there, they're different terms. So by looking at this, my a is 1, my b is negative 2, my c is negative 8, just like we've been using them. Okay? So, here we go. The quadratic formula says that x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? And the a, b, and c came right from there like it always has. So that's what I did. Negative b, my b was negative 2, plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Just plug it in. Then is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay? Minus a negative, that's a positive 2. Plus or minus, you do what's inside here first. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Minus, and I like to write the minus, and then I just treat this as a positive 4 times a positive 1 times a negative 8, and I get a negative 32. That helps me keep my signs straight. And there I go. Okay? Equals 2, plus or minus, minus a negative, that becomes plus positive, so I get the square root of 36 all over 2. Well, we know the square root of 36 is 6. Okay, so x is equal to 2 plus or minus 6 over 2. Well, just like what we did with completing the square with plus or minus, that means x is equal to 2 plus 6 over 2, which is 8 over 2, which is 4. Or x is 2 minus 6 over 2, which is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. There's my answers. Okay? Can be a lot longer, but if you can't factor what you have there, or if you not real good at factoring and you have to solve for x, this works every time. It'll tell you what x is every time. Okay? It doesn't factor for you, it solves for x. Okay? And it works in all cases. Alright? That's the quadratic formula. So, solving for x. We can factor, we can take out a greatest common factor, set factors equal to 0, solve for x. If it's a difference of two squares, like x squared minus 9, you can factor it, x plus 3, x minus 3. Set both factors equal to 0 and solve for x. You can factor trinomials, fabulous factor, completing the square, or you can do the quadratic formula. If you're solving for x, this works all the time. These all work in certain situations. These can be shortcuts. This can be a little longer, but works all the time. I hope you're picking up on that. Okay? So, that's the quadratic formula. Well, what about the discriminant? What is the discriminant? The discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac part, what's inside the radical of the quadratic formula. Okay? And what this tells you is how many real solutions your quadratic will have. Okay? What do we mean? We know sometimes when we factor things out, like we might get x minus 1, x minus 1, and that you're going to get x plus 1 as your answer. That's one solution. Okay? Things like that. So what this tells you is this. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, it's positive. Okay? You're going to get two real solutions. Graphically, what that means Remember, parabola is the graph of the quadratic, and it's a U if it's positive, U up. It goes down if A is negative. But it means you're going to cross the x-axis twice. When you solve for x, and we talked about this before, you're getting the x-intercepts of that graph. You're saying, okay, I'm going to cross right here. Okay? So if this is positive, you're going to get two values for x. Boom, boom, and that's where your graph's going to go through. If your b squared minus 4ac is 0, so what's inside that radical turned out to be 0, it'll be gone. There is plus or minus nothing. So what you end up is with one real solution. And it look like this. That vertex is either resting it here or it's maxing out on it. Okay, but it touches the x-axis in one place. If your b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, it's negative, there's no real solutions. What that means is your graph goes up or it goes down, but it never crosses the x-axis. Okay? So a question you would see on the homework or on a quiz is, hey, use the discriminant to find how many real solutions there would be in this quadratic. And you just identify A, B, and C and plug them in. If it's positive, say there's two solutions. If it's equal to 0, there's one solution. If it's less than 0, no real solutions. Okay? But this tells you what it looks like graphically also. Okay? So we'll get after that in class, then we'll wrap up the chapter and get ready for the Chapter 9 test. Okay? See you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.